how were you able to keep going? I mean, through all the horrible things that happened, how were you able to just let go?
Well, it wasn't easy. I had many breakdowns. But finally, I asked myself what I wanted more: revenge or my happiness? Do I want to see everyone who wronged me suffer? Or do I want to move on? I thought to myself, if you want to see the light, stop holding yourself in the darkness of your past. The way I see it is, if you want to be free, stop locking yourself in the prison of your past. If you really want to move on, release that heavy weight from your back. If you don't want them to win, let go. Move on.
As Henry David Thoreau said, never look back unless you're planning to go that way. And that's how people get trapped. There's something inevitable about the way that the human mind works. It's going to try to draw you backwards. It's going to try to get you to focus on the bad things that have happened. It wants you to see your mistakes. It wants you to wallow in your mistakes. And I'll give it that maybe it has the best of intentions. Maybe its hope is that I don't repeat those mistakes. Maybe what it wants to ensure is that I do better in the future. But the problem is, your energy goes where your attention is. And if your attention is the past, that's where you're going to live. That's where you're going to spend your time. And you're never going to be able to plan for the future. The future doesn't happen. The future has to be built. It has to be created. And if you're not taking the time to map out that creation, then it's going to happen by accident. And you're never going to get the things that you want. You're never going to become the person that you're capable of becoming. But to become that push, you have to push yourself. You've got to make huge demands of yourself. And to do that, to have the energy to see that through, you've got to know what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Try to be better than yourself. But how can you do that if all you're doing is looking in the past? You've got to have an eye to the future. You've got to know who you are today. You've got to have the self-awareness, the presence, to look at yourself honestly, to accept what it is about yourself that is weak, that is inadequate, but without punishing yourself, without spending that time beating yourself up in the past, living there in the pain of what you got wrong, living there in the pain of all the things that have happened to you that were outside of your control that you didn't want. If you want to build something new, don't spend any of your energy trying to tear down the old. Instead, spend all of your time trying to build the new. And that becomes the thing. It becomes the race against yourself. It becomes the race to see if you can make yourself better. You have a vision of who you can become, and you're constantly racing against that person. You're trying to become better than that person. You're trying to outperform your own expectations. And when you can do that, when you can set a bar that is ridiculously high and then become somebody capable of surpassing that, then, and only then, will you become the person you were meant to be. So put all of your time and energy into building you. No matter what is happening in your life at any moment, right now, in the depths of a depression, in something going on terribly in your life, you could choose right now to think about the things you're grateful for. The breeze, a smile from somebody kind, a stranger who holds open a door for you, anything, but it's a choice. And as Einstein said, there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. When you train your mind to do that, when you train yourself to decide to see the beauty in that, then nobody can ever take it away from you. And no matter where you are, no matter what's going on in your life, you'll be able to rise up and feel the beauty that is being alive. So take a minute at the worst times in your life and focus on the things that you're grateful for.
There's all kinds of different ways to break. You can break physically, you can break mentally, you can break your heart, you can break your spirit, and none of those are fun. And all of those are gonna leave a mark. But the mark that they leave can be the mark of victory or it can be the mark of defeat. Because every time you break, and in every way that you break, while it's a chance, it's definitely a chance for you to give up and for you to just to fall apart. But there's also opportunity. There's opportunity to get stronger and get smarter and get faster and get tougher and get more stable and get more resilient and get better. When you break, you have the opportunity to show the world, the whole world, what you are really made of. So if you break, if you break, the fight isn't over. In fact, if you break, the fight is just beginning.
One of life's greatest lessons is that yesterday is only as powerful as we allow it to be. So the question is, why do we give that old story power? Why do we relive it, create this self-inflicted wound? There is so much opportunity, and possibility, and potential in front of us that we fail to see because we can't stop thinking about that fictitious story we call yesterday. We confuse the path we took then for the one we need now, the wake from the steering wheel. What is, and that story about what was. The gateway to change is unshackling ourselves from those imaginary monsters. Leaving a part of us behind hurts. Looking in the mirror and being vulnerable enough to say, I can be more than this. It's not easy, but it's possible. To leave yesterday behind us, life gives us new pieces. It resets the stage. It provides new tools to build something incredible, something more ideal, more conducive to our goals, our hopes, and our dreams. We learn things we never knew. We see things through a lens that we never could. Touch things that we never thought existed. It wasn't in staying, but in leaving, that we rediscovered who we were meant to be. That we allowed our truest selves to flourish. And worst case scenario, the worst case scenario, should you find the courage to move forward, is that you end up right back where you started. A little more confident, a little bolder, and better prepared to live this life like you never had.
Move on. Straight up, move on.